Next on Startup, we head to Saco River, Maine to talk to Claudia and Ken, the owners of Saco River Dyehouse. Then we head to Buffalo, New York to talk to Matt and Matt, the creators of Craft Cruiser. All of this and more is next on Startup.
There is nothing easy about starting a small business. A baker's tale, all natural and gluten-free cookies, tarts, pies, and cakes online. A Baker's Tale is proud to support Startup and all of the entrepreneurs out there trying to sweeten their own story of success.
The American small business was built on one thing: relationships. And every time a customer walks through the door, a new one begins. Pay Anywhere was built to help entrepreneurs do what they do best. So keep loving what you do. Just get paid for it. Pay Anywhere.
The Michigan Economic Development Corporation is proud to support Startup and all the dreamers, thinkers, and doers. Pure Michigan, ready for the next big thing.
You've written your own story of success, and it shows. Chrysler is proud to support Startup and all the people out there who define their own success.
My name is Gary Brado, and I'm a documentary filmmaker and an entrepreneur. The economy is in less than perfect shape, and when the jobs go away, there's nothing left to do but get up and get creative. And there are people all over America doing just that. It's estimated that up to 85% of new businesses fail. So I'm going coast to coast to hear the personal stories of the people who beat the odds and started a successful business from the ground up. This is Startup. I'm on Main Street in Biddleford, Maine, and I'm going to talk to Claudia, the owner of Saco River Dyehouse, a yarn dyeing operation in a historic mill building. Let's go hear her story. Dyeing yarn has been traced back to the Neolithic era, with color sources primarily stemming from nature, including animals, plants, and minerals. In China, dyeing with barks and insects has been traced back more than 5,000 years. Modern-day dyeing is a much faster process that involves the use of synthetic dyes to produce a wider range of shades and hues. Although never owning or running a dye house, Claudia and Ken saw an opportunity to both follow their dream and help revive the local economy.
My name is Claudia Raisler.
And I'm Ken Raisler. We're the co-founders of Saco River Dyehouse, located in Biddeford, Maine.
And our mission statement is very simple. We want to be the best and most well-respected dye house in the United States.
I want to learn about you. Tell me about Claudia.
I grew up in Ajo, Arizona, and then which is about 60 miles north of the Mexican border. I went to college, I did the traditional thing, got married, had kids, had a career. I was a nurse, and then I went back to law school.
Nurse and lawyer.
Yes.
Underachiever. What was the aha moment? Tell me the first time the idea hit you to do something like this, because to me, dare I use the word, it's crazy. I mean, wow.
I like crazy.
Apparently.
It was not this 5-year thought out thing. It was recognizing that there was an opportunity. We were running a small, kind of on the side, textile yarn production, and we were a customer of this dye house that was operating in Massachusetts. And it was going to close, and some of us said, well, let's move it to Maine and see what we can do.
When you say buy a dye house, I'm assuming that you mean buy all the equipment that it takes to operate as a dye house.
You got it right.
So
you put it on tractor trailers and you truck it up to Maine.
That's scary. Okay, so how did you acquire did you find the space before buying all of this stuff? Or just say, we'll put it in our garage and see what happens?
Garage would have been a little more cost effective.
Sure.
We were lucky enough, we looked around a lot. Mm-hmm. We looked in different places in Maine, but then we had to step back and say, where can we operate from a cost effective platform? This building had natural gas. It had textiles in it from years and years ago. It had a footprint where we could install the dye equipment. And so it was a straight out business decision at the end of the day. None of us knew anything about manufacturing from a practical perspective.
Got it.
And
yeah.
None of us knew anything about dyeing except our dye master. But everything else because we had to start with systems from scratch.
Yeah.
So whether it was HR, hiring, training, hanging yarn, whatever it took to get the product out the door.
You dye, but where do you get the yarn?
It comes from primarily from the customers.
So they send their yarn in for you to dye.
Yes, we dye for a whole range of customers, ranging from a small farm, a small sheep farm, to designers out of New York or whatever.
You found these guys online, I would assume?
Well,
or?
we sort of had a soft opening, and the story is really funny because we were selling through a yarn shop and we were dyeing all of it hand-dyed in Washington. And we sort of realized that that wasn't what we wanted to do, and we had sort of a little meltdown during a big show, and so I jumped online and I ended up finding Saco River Dyehouse. And so the next morning I got right on the telephone, I called up and I got Ben on the phone, and we've built this beautiful relationship together where they dye our yarns for us, and we've created these palettes, and it's been a really lovely relationship. That's for sure.
What kind of person is Claudia, like as a business owner?
She's amazing. She is, I call her my yarn mama.
Yarn mama, I like that.
On the East Coast.
Yeah.
She's incredible. She is a very intelligent businesswoman, but beyond that, she's very passionate.
Legend has it that the Saco River was cursed by Squandro, chief of the Native American Secocas tribe that resided on the river. The legend states that 3 English sailors killed the chief's son, causing Squandro to curse the river and marking the end of peaceful relations between the settlers and the American Indians living in the region.
We did a Kickstarter campaign.
What was your goal?
I think our goal was like 30,000 or something, and we hit about 40,000.
Oh, nice.
So it was nice.
I'm assuming it took maybe a couple more dollars than 40,000 to build this out and buy the gear.
You could assume that, yes.
Add a zero, pretty much.
I would say we currently have $600,000, $700,000 into it. We have a lot of skin in the game, and we don't have much in the bank anymore. So,
Right.
So you're right. We had to make this work, and so a year. Actually, it was probably 6 months into it, and we looked at it. And Ken, my husband, looked at it and said, "This is not going to work in the business model that we had."
What do you think you would have done differently if you could go back and start from the beginning again?
The first thing I would have done differently is I would have not allowed myself to lay out the plant. I would have hired a professional industrial engineer to do that, because about 9 months later we had to rearrange all the equipment that we put in wrong. That was one big mistake. And I think I might have consulted more people about what it takes to run a dye house.
You guys are crazy. Why would you do something like this?
Well, we are crazy. We agree with that 100%. But we had an idea, we had an opportunity, we took advantage of the opportunity. We've made the usual mistakes along the way, but we're now down the road 3 years. We're finally looking at seeing a profit, and we're pretty excited about it. And we're doing a scale-up operation in the fall that we're terribly excited about.
It's a very diverse crew that you have here.
I really enjoy that.
Is that intentional or just happened that way?
We ran some ads, we interviewed people, and we were able to find some very talented people that just didn't happen to be English as their primary language.
Yeah, and your, would you call him dye master?
Yeah.
It's Malik.
That was fortuitous. We ran an ad in the Textile Colorist magazine for a dye master. He applied, he came and visited in a week. He stayed for 2 weeks, told us what we needed to do. What he said made a lot of sense. The old dye master was retiring. It was a no-brainer. And he knew how to dye. We can't even dye Easter eggs.
Can we try to make something?
Yeah, we can.
Okay,
Do anything.
let's pick out a color for my daughter. So, how about hot pink 961?
961.
Yeah.
A assistant chemist, my wife also. She will help me for this fall. So I am making this certain weight which we have targeted for this your loving red color which your daughter likes.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, and maybe this is really hot for everyone. Especially girls,
Yes.
teenager, they love this color. Which
So certain amount of each color in
Each
order to
color.
achieve the pink.
pink color, yeah. So
This is fascinating. Let's see. And it's all just science, just chemistry.
It's all chemistry.
So now she put the yarn in and she has to cook it
She will cook.
to bring the color out?
Yeah, this color have a certain lead time. This is called acer dye, which we are using on this wool.
How long does it take to cook?
It takes 30 to 45 minutes.
And this is the end product.
This is the end product. And now we have one, this is checked, dried, and this is checked also.
Okay.
No color is coming out. So we approve this for any production, any person.
How did you get introduced to Claudia? How did this business come to your attention?
Well, Claudia, as you'll find out, is somebody who isn't shy about talking about what she does. She's very proud of it. When I first met her, I thought, well, we do research and development. I'm not sure a dye house is anything that's really going to fit for us.
Sure.
But boy, you start talking to her and you're finding out there's a lot of science and technology going on here.
Yarn consists of several strands of material twisted together. Each strand is made of fibers that are all shorter than the piece of yarn that they form. These short fibers are then spun into longer filaments to make the yarn. What advice would you give to other entrepreneurs out there, dreamers, either second career, first career, anyone?
Well, I think if you really believe in what you're going to do and you have a lot of drive and you're willing to work really hard for not much money, it's not like a paid job.
How attractive.
You should go for it because there's a lot of satisfaction if you meet your goal.
You had still have career as a lawyer, and what is your husband, what was his profession?
So he's a physician.
A physician.
Yeah. Why?
Why swallow this big monster?
That's what they
Isn't it time to relax, go out on the boat, do some lobster, fishing, something? Is it fishing, catching?
You can always relax.
Yeah.
You can always we can't necessarily as easily now because we've got skin in the game, as you say. Here we are, and now we've got to make it work.
You're in too deep.
Yeah, we're
Okay.
I don't think either one of us would have ever looked at a model that says go play golf and sit on the beach. It's just not who we are.
Thank you so much for talking to us today. I think
No problem.
this story is going to definitely resonate with a lot of our viewers. So
Great, thanks,
thank
Gary.
you so much. There are a million ways to start a business, but how did Claudia and Ken do it? Let's find out. They started with an average credit score of 750 and around $30,000 in the bank, and they spend roughly $12,000 per month on their lease. Their first year sales were around $300,000, with the business operating at a loss. The one word that they would use to describe what it takes to make it in business is focus. Claudia was dying to start a business, so she knit together a plan even though a lot of people said that it would never ever work. Claudia is proof that you should always yarn for more and let passion be your guide. For more information, log on to our website and click the link for Saco River Dyehouse. I'm in Lafayette Square in Buffalo, New York, and I'm going to talk to Matt and Matt, the owners of the Craft Cruiser, a mega bike that has people touring downtown Buffalo in style. Let's go hear their story. The Party Bike, or pedal crawler, is a multi-passenger, human-powered vehicle. The bike is sometimes mistaken for a larger scale version of the pedicab, but it's not, since the Party Bike is powered by the passengers, while the steering and braking is controlled by a driver. Matt and Matt saw a huge opportunity to combine all of the things they love and took a chance on this exciting new business.
Matt Davison, Vice President and co-owner, Consumers Craft Cruiser.
Matt Poquigo, President, co-owner, Consumers Craft Cruiser. Our mission statement:
We guide your epic ride.
So what made you what was the first idea that you had to want to do this? Why you want to cruise the craft?
This idea stems back 2 years. I was in Denver, Colorado on vacation visiting some friends, and beside me rolled a pedal bike. And so I inquired with my friends more about that, and just with the recent developments in the downtown area and the craft brewing industry, and just really saw an opportunity to give the city of Buffalo something that they could take hold to and have some pride in. Like, Buffalonians are very proud people, I feel like. So,
yeah,
you can tell. Just thought, why not?
Came about this because a friend of mine, Matt Pakigo, who's my business partner, came to me one day and said, hey, I need you, we gotta do this. We're bringing a beer bike to Buffalo. So rather than say, you're crazy, I said, all right, let's do it.
So he just had a really good experience on it and selfishly wanted it for his own
He
town.
had a glass. He said, hey, there's a void we need to fill here. Some things are starting to happen in downtown. This would be great to bring in people, tourists, just people who are already there to take in the town, see the sights, have fun.
Did you go back and just hit Google and start researching what this was and figure it out? And what was the process is that the order that it went in? You started researching the bike first?
Like you said, began researching it thoroughly, doing background, taking trips to go see different bikes, different cities.
That must have been terrible.
No, it was horrible. No, it was fantastic.
Yeah.
It was
market research.
Exactly.
You're mixing driving around on the streets with drinking, okay?
Sure.
How complicated is it for someone to start something like this?
Because it's considered a bike, you have to abide the rules of the road if there's bike lanes.
And do you have to have a liquor license for this?
You do not have to have a liquor license.
You do not?
Because we're not technically serving.
Is it donation based, or how do you get around that?
People would bring their own to a tour.
I would have to bring my own barrel if I want to draft.
Correct. We intend to use the draft system for special events and private parties and things like that.
So this is a BYOB environment.
Correct.
Buffalo is home to many innovative and groundbreaking startups and inventions, including air conditioning, windshield wipers, the pacemaker, the electric chair, and the first movie theater. What did this cost? How did you guys get the money? How much skin do you have in the game?
Yeah, we about $130,000 total. We have about $20,000 of that in between the two partners, and then $110,000 from a local commercial lender, local bank.
Well, how did you get a bank? I mean, how do you really get a bank loan?
The presentation we put in front of them, it wasn't a 4 or 5 page
buttoned up.
Yeah, it was nice. I mean, it had graphics, it had pieces, it had specs, safety features. I mean, this thing was a hot deck going in.
It sounds like you guys are the type where, when they finish it up, they're just like, yes, right, pretty much.
I got to tell you, I think why we got it is because all the lenders wanted to ride the bike when they were giving it to us, and they wanted it in Buffalo.
They just wanted it selfishly for themselves.
It could have been a home job, I don't know.
How important is laying it all out, being completely prepared, answering every question before it comes out?
Yeah. We joke that from the outside it might look like a Cadillac, but on the inside it feels like it's stuck together with duct tape. And I think that anybody who's out there really gets that, because as prepared as you can be, what we found is that business always changes. Nothing happens the way that you planned it. You need to be able to evolve, mature your business plan, mature your audience, your customers who you want to go after. So that's been part of this. We wouldn't have done it if we didn't feel like we had a pretty potent approach to making money.
Talk about how you're going to get the brand name out there, and talk about social media channels and how you're going to utilize that for the business.
We talked about paid boosts on social, using some organic testing with Facebook ads.
Yeah.
We talked about what influencers in town we could get them on the bike, get them talking about the bike, sharing posts and tweets and whatnot. We talked with consumers about what they could do through their own marketing mechanisms. Integrate us into that. Give us a chance to be part of your brand and promote it. And so that's how we feel like we've been effective. Also guerrilla. We put the bike on a trailer in the short time we've had it. Yeah. We just drive around town.
Your visibility is incredible.
Huge.
So yeah. I think that that's a unique business right there, that you are a mobile billboard.
Right.
Really. I mean, you have your hashtag on the side, you have, website. Not everybody has that advantage. Yeah. So,
and that was part of how we got the sponsor involved, is that we said, hey, you're buying a billboard, and you're being something, it's pretty cool. It's different. It's going to draw in tourists. It's good for the town, and so he was energized about it.
How were you able to get these guys on board?
We had a couple advertising options and sponsorship options we were looking at. We didn't just have a plan A. We had a plan A through Z with who we could go at. But consumers was number one.
Yeah.
We sold the sizzle a little bit. We went in there. We showed examples. Matt had wore a GoPro when he was riding some of these bikes, so we had cool video to show them the experience. And we put together a really nice sales sheet. We had some graphic designs put together beforehand, renderings with all their logos and their brand built right onto the bike. So we weren't just saying, hey, we have this idea. We said, here's the idea, here's how we're going to pay for it, here's what we're looking for in a package, here's our proposal to you. And as Neil has said before, we were ready to answer any question that he had.
What kind of guy is Matt, or what kind of guys are Matt and Matt?
Right away, the very first night that we sat down, I knew that Matt and Matt were something special. They showed me some concepts that they had done of the bike with our logos on them, and it resonated. My light bulb went off, and we thought, this is the perfect opportunity for us to be relevant in the community.
They thought it through, came prepared,
so.
And that's really important when approaching someone for a sponsorship or a partnership, right?
Well, they say that the devil is in the details, and they knew every one of them.
The pub on wheels has been around for decades, but has seen a recent resurgence in the United States and Germany. Some party bikes can have up to 16 cycling passengers, 3 non-cycling passengers, including a bartender and a driver. What does the future hold for Craft Cruiser?
I don't ever think it'll be our primary business. Matt and I have some aspirations to do some other entrepreneurial things and grow up a couple other businesses, and also stay with our primary day jobs. But we definitely see this being more than just one bike kicking around town.
From day one when Matt approached you, what's been the hardest thing you've had to overcome, the biggest hardship in starting this new side business?
Time. Time is the thing that's more important than money to us, because you can do everything better. And every time we look at something, we're like, man, we'd really like to see it this way, but we're really trying not to let perfect be the enemy of good here. Sure. And every, to a website, to a social media post, to a ride, to a tour, to the way you explain something, we always want it to be a little bit better. So we're trying to constantly improve, but we also know that if we sit back and strangle this thing to make it perfect, it's never going to get out there.
And what is your advice for other entrepreneurs out there that have a dream or a goal, or just want to do something on the side, apart from their full-time gig?
Sure. He who hesitates is lost. A good friend of mine once told me, and this is one of those things where I think that if you have a dream and a vision and you really put your mind to it and have people that support you, that you can do it. There's a lot of people that talk about it, and there's other people that do it.
Factor it in your mind that people will, if you've been good to them, give it back, and it becomes helpful. People cover for you, they give you advice. There's some mentors out there that you can grab. Yep. And that for us has been huge. Don't dive in blind. Don't do something stupid. Do your homework a little bit. Take the time to do it right. Know your numbers, know the industry you want to get into. Do that research first and say, there's an opening in this space that I think I can fill, or there's a service I can provide. Once you know it, take a chance and do it.
At the end of the day, I want to look back and be proud that, I teamed up with Matt and we were able to do this.
Well, congratulations, man. I can't wait to come back to Buffalo and actually give it a ride.
Good. Awesome.
Experience the full gamut of this. So Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you.
Appreciate it.
Yep.
There are a million ways to start a business, but how did Matt and Matt do it? Let's find out. They started with around $50,000 in the bank and had an average credit score of around 740. They spent roughly $130,000 to open the business that they acquired through a bank loan. The business has not yet turned a profit, and the one word that they would use to describe what it really takes to make it in business is tenacity. When an idea is brewing inside your head and opportunity knocks, you have to make sure you peddle your idea around town and get the right people on board. For entrepreneurs like Matt and Matt, this was just like riding a bike. And it looks like Craft Cruiser is about to swallow up Buffalo's travel and tourism market. For more information, log on to our website and click the link for Craft Cruiser.
My best advice for upstarts, for young people wanting to become entrepreneurs and have their own business, is to make sure your idea is a simple one. Make sure you have enough passion and enthusiasm for it. Make sure that this idea is something that people either really need or really want. And then don't let anybody tell you it won't work.
Next time on Startup, we head to Buffalo, New York to talk to James, Matt, and Sam, the owners of Public Espresso. Then we head over to Sudbury, Massachusetts to talk to Emily, the founder of Fedwell. Be sure to join us next time on Startup.
And then, what is it you do for a living?
I play professional football for the Detroit Lions.
Okay. This is the big question. Super Bowl is here?
Yeah.
Come on, please.
Yeah.
Please, I'm begging. It's been
You've written your own story of success, and it shows. Chrysler is proud to support startup and all the people out there who define their own success.
The Michigan Economic Development Corporation is proud to support startup and all the dreamers, thinkers, and doers. Pure Michigan, ready for the next big thing.
The American small business was built on one thing: relationships. And every time a customer walks through the door, a new one begins. Pay Anywhere was built to help entrepreneurs do what they do best. So keep loving what you do. Just get paid for it. Pay Anywhere.
There is nothing easy about starting a small business. A Baker's Tale, all natural and gluten-free cookies, tarts, pies, and cakes online. A Baker's Tale is proud to support startup and all of the entrepreneurs out there trying to sweeten their own story of success.